Hello everybody and welcome back to ACK, and today is round 5 of the championship on the new home of ACK, which is my own personal YouTube channel. My name's Chris, and joining me today is Dunica to bring you coverage of round 5 of the Assetto Corsa Karting League championship, really, here on Assetto Corsa. A fairly new concept, although it's reaching its year mark now, created by Pierre Ligio. And this is round 5 of a 10-round championship, and we've already seen so much action over the season, and this is the second indoor round of the season. In fact, there's only 2 on the calendar, so this is the last time drivers will see indoor racing during the season. But yeah, it has been absolutely fantastic so far, and this is going to be a very interesting round given the drivers who are taking part. A lot of new drivers taking part, and some top-end championship drivers. There's definitely be a mix today, and there's some big points on offer because the attendance is not the highest it's been recently. So looking into today's round, we've got 20 drivers we're expecting to take part, which still is fantastic numbers for the championship. But we're going to see some big point scorers, I think, for some drivers a bit lower down too. On screen at the moment, Tim, the Dutch driver, he's a regular to the championship, and he's currently sitting 4th in the championship. So he's going to be looking for another top 4 today to push himself further in the championship. So, with 50 seconds to go before the first split race, the rules of the championship are simple. We do the same format at each race, and that is a one-shot qualifying, a one-lap qualifying off the track. On cold tyres mostly, and then moving into a 5-minute sprint race. So what this first split and this first race is a super pole qualifying into that 5-minute sprint race, and the top half of drivers will make the A final, and the bottom half of drivers will move to the B final. But that is not over for the B final drivers. They can still make the A final, and there's a couple of positions available for that A final from winning the B final. So with 10 seconds to go now before the start of the race, it's going to be a very quick evening. So thank you, of course, for joining us here on YouTube, and get your comments in if you've got any questions about the series or you got anything to talk about on track. But we're going to be starting now the event, and we're just waiting for the start of qualifying. And yeah, here it is, actually, just on time. This is the start of qualifying. So drivers now will not start the lap just yet. They get to go around, they get to warm their tyres, they get to get a good feeling of the tracks. They've just crossed the line there, but they will not start their lap now. This is their out lap, so they get a chance to split up a little bit and make sure that they can find the gap they need. But you know, they only get 1 lap to make pole position or make it up that order. So this is the most important lap possibly of their whole evening, because if you don't get it right now, you're going to be playing catch up the whole evening. So looking into this qualifying, we've got lots of drivers taking part who could get pole position. We've got Jaco currently the championship leader, following just behind the Polish driver of GT up there in the championship as well, I think currently sitting 5th. But GT will start us now tonight with his qualifying lap. So here he comes, and it's a very tight track here at Wackersdorf Indoor, the German track, and it's a lot of hairpins. Very similar, a lot of these sort of European tracks, where you have to be very careful with the brakes, going around the corners, again as close to the barriers as you can. But so far from GT, it's looking very good as he hits the midsection of the track. Currently the fastest through the first sector of all the drivers is GT, and there's been 5 through that first sector at the moment. So it's advantage at the moment to GT, I would say, as Jaco is just following behind and is not matching his pace. And it's a very quick lap here. It's only roughly 50 seconds in a lap, and GT's going to come around to finish it. So here we go. We're about to find out what's going to happen. GT's going to come across the line, and he records a 43.047. Will Jaco match it, or will he beat it? Jaco across the line. No, he's 2 tenths down. Tim only down to 3rd. Here comes Neg on his first race, only 4th. Mate Sheplow's the next driver. Now, Mate Sheplow usually goes last in the qualifying order, and his first sector was very good, so this might put him up the order. Is it going to be good for Mate Sheplow? He needs it for his championship points. Mate Sheplow only 4th. That's got to be frustrating. And Andres Lazaridis, 11-year-old Andres Lazaridis, up to 5th position. And David Alexandre, the last driver across the line, coming through. And David Alexandre only P7 for the race. So that was an interesting qualifying. But now we go straight to the race, and it's going to be GT who leads us into that first corner of this race, followed by the championship leader on the front row of Jaco, who's quite frankly had a fantastic season so far. But the real championship leader is at the moment Soren, who has won 3 out of 4 of the races. but he has missed a round, so he is down the order because of drop rounds. But he will be in the second split. But it's 6 red lights here at ACK. The first race of the night is underway. So who will get the best start? GT looks like he gets a good launch off the line. Now, will Jaco choose to go with him, or will he try and fight for that lead? As we see Andres there get a little bit squirrely. It's very tight through the intersection. Tim, though, getting up to third position, or holding third position, if you will. GT with a clear little gap there. Good move there. Oh, no, Jaco's been hit. Jaco's been hit there by Mate Sheplo. And Sheplo tries to go for the overtake on Tim very early, and he pushes Jaco back. The championship leader without drop rounds, Jaco. And that will frustrate him. And just Lazaridis does benefit from that. And as he's going for the overtake now, on that looks like Neg on his ACK debut. Will Neg be able to hold it? Yes, he does for now, but he gives the space to Andres Lazaridis. And yes, he does. Andres does overshoot it, and Jaco up to 4th. He seems to have salvaged it a little bit. Neg holds on to 5th, and will he choose to defend now? Tim with a clear second place there, by the way. Jaco up to 3rd. I did notice GT, though, is away by a mile here on this first lap of the night. And what an interesting race. It is very close racing. Neg holding, now becoming a bit of a bottleneck there for Andres Lazaridis. Now, will he get frustrated with that? He is defending, as now we see a move from Sheplo again at the same corner. It doesn't work yet again from Sheplo. The barrier holding him in. David Alexandre down there in 7th position. Will be trying to make his way back. Neg at the moment looking at a chance of getting into the A final at the first time of trying. So, from the top, GT leads us clear with Tim, to be honest with you, the Dutch driver in a clear lead there as well. Those two drivers looking very good. Jaco, though, slowly catching Tim, and it's going to be very important. And Neg there, he's taking a joker on the sprint race. Now, this is something that he will have had to read in the briefing notes, but you do not do a joker lap on the sprint race, and that is clearly stated. So Neg there has actually pushed himself back in the order through his own choices. So that is very unfortunate. Here, Mate Sheplo up to 5th position with that. You've got a feel for Mate. It was a pretty bad move, I got to say. I see what he was trying to do, but he didn't slow down his car just enough there. And Andres Lazaridis here might be making his first A final of the season. Andres Lazaridis is only 11 years old, and he mostly uses this car for training. And he doesn't seem to be defending either, but it'd be great to see, you know, such a young driver. You know, he's really making leaps and bounds in real life, in real world of karting. So anything he can achieve in ACK is just a plus. But he doesn't seem to be defending Mate Sheplo here at the moment. As you know, we've just gone under halfway through this sprint race, and there's only 2 minutes to go. And Mate now is going for the move again, and it's not quite worked there. And Lazaridis has kept it for now, which looks good. So Sheplo's starting to get very frustrated here. He's only dropped a couple of positions in the order overall so far, Sheplo, but he needs to get back up there if he wants to make the A final. Otherwise, it's going to be a long fight through that B final. Out in front, though, GT setting fastest lap after fastest lap. 43.164 is his best lap. Now, it's important for GT. The race is not over there yet, because he has to score a faster lap than the driver in the second split. And this isn't real karting. The track is not going to warm up in the same way a real track would. So being in the first group, you have the opportunity to take that pole position. And Lazaridis there makes a mistake, and Sheplo seems to be quicker through that middle sector. Will Lazaridis decide to defend? No, he doesn't really do it. Sheplo's definitely going to have to make a very crude move here, I would say, on Andres Lazaridis, because he's not going totally wide anymore. He's starting to sort of defend the corners, but making those little mistakes along the way. Now, in the final, drivers will have a joker lap to take, and that will split the order up, I'm sure, a lot more, as, Sheplo does get a bit squirrely there in the midfield of the corner. So, coming now down to the last minute of the race, it looks like we have one more lap of racing here, so it's not over yet for Sheplo. He's got one more full lap to get past Lazaridis. Otherwise, it could be a trip to the B final unless he has a very good lap time, or it does work out for him. Looking down the order, though, David Alexandre has moved up to 6th. Neg, taking that pit stop, has unfortunately moved down to 7th. That's important to read the briefing notes. Jaco seems to be in a world of his own at the moment there as well in 3rd. He's going to have to score a good lap time to start on that inside for the final. But GT at the moment, it's a 43.094 up in front, which doesn't look like it's going to be enough. I think looking at the testing times from drivers like Soren and Duckpan, the Dutch driver in the second group, it's going to be a bit tighter. And Shepard there doesn't make it work. Once again, I think that could almost be it now, unless Lazarus makes a huge mistake. But that's what indoor karting's all about. It's all about one small mistake. And he's not going to make it, Lazarus, as he's facing his way towards an A final. But here's from the front. GT coming across the line. Will he improve his lap time on this last lap? He does slightly, 43.013, but it's going to be very competitive. Not very competitive, that lap time. Tim does take second place, and he'll be hoping a 43.4 gets him onto the front row on the inside. Jaco in third, recovering that initial wipeout. And just as Aradis, a fantastic fourth place, with Mate Sheplo in fifth. Davi Alexandra, the Brazilian driver, in sixth. Now, Nick, you have to feel for him, but he didn't quite read the briefing notes properly. But a great effort from him nonetheless, and he'll enjoy that B final, I'm sure, and trying to make his way through. And there's still a chance to make the A with Kareem Yacoub, coming through in eighth. So what an interesting first sprint race, I would say. But we've got one more to go to find out the orders for the finals. So stick with us, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everybody. With 3 minutes to go, this is the second split of the evening. So this is the second group of drivers looking to make their way to the A or B finals tonight and score their championship points. As Adam Sherpitt just joins the server. Welcome back, Adam Sherpitt. Hopefully, he said he's had a lot of issues with his PC today and recently, so I hope it works out for him today. But Adam Sherpitt, he has done this track a few times before, but he will be fairly out of practice. Now, he is a fantastic driver in real life, Adam Sherpitt. Many endurances and many events around Belgium and other parts of Europe, and he will be up there today, I'm sure. Even with the sprint races, his practice, if he makes the top end of the B final, it might only help him if he made it then to the A final with an extra 20 minutes of practice on the track. So you would not count out Adam Sherpitt today for possibly a top 5, I would say, in the results. I think the win is going to be difficult given it's his return to ACK, but you never know. You never know with Adam Sherpitt. He's that type of driver. But we've only got 1 minute 45 seconds now as we wait for the next sprint. So if you want to get involved with ACK, by the way, just check out the Discord. You don't even need a sim rig to race. You can use a controller or even your keyboard, but you do need a PC. That's one thing you do need. But this game is pretty old now, Assetto Corsa. You can get it on a laptop, so don't be put off by that either. I think there are some drivers here who are playing on laptops, whatnot. I think about drivers like Baptiste van der Breggen who plays on a controller as well. So it's a hugely accessible game, and if you want to get involved, feel free. I know this is on my own personal YouTube channel now, but it's hopefully helping raise the profile of the series, because that's the most important thing. Because these ACK organisers, they do a lot of great work, and I have to say a shout out, of course, to Dunica for hosting the live stream today, and also Pierre Ligia for all of his work on the kart. So far, I've heard some really good things about the update on this car, and it's more realistic than ever, which is very important, I would say, for these sort of races. And on a track like this, I mean, you need the kart to be as realistic as possible. Adam Schipper, by the way, putting in some good laps at the moment, but he's going to have to work very hard, I think, to make it up today, looking at it at the moment. But he could have a very fun B final at hands, practicing, and then hopefully pushing towards an A final. So yeah, anything, if you want to get involved with the series, feel free to check out the links on Discord, and let's look towards now this second sprint race. And by the way, we have Soren topping the timesheet. Soren now, in the first 4 rounds of ACK, he's won 3 of them with the fastest lap and the sprint race win. So a perfect set of scores so far for him in the championship. But he actually missed 1 of the rounds, so he's not sitting at the top of the standings right now. But you're going to expect him to be possibly up there today, looking for the win once again, and his 4th win in 5 rounds. But this is now the start of qualifying, so drivers will have to leave the pit lane once again and set their one-shot qualifying lap time. We will be joined, by the way, by Soren. If he can make the A final in this race, then he will be joining us for commentary for the B final. And he is not messing about, Soren. He is straight out onto track. He wants to be the first around and set the standard. So Soren sort of warming up his tyres there, being very aggressive on the wheel. Adam Sherpitt going with Soren. Will he be able to stick with him? I'm not sure. But Soren, the man on the mission, the Danish driver, a DRKC, the Danish Rental Karting Championship finalist, I believe, and junior top 5. He's going to be looking for a good result today. He's got many more events in real life coming up as well. Many at Race Hall, I do hear from him. Whenever I talk to her, oh, and he's hit the wall actually on his outlap there. So he's going to lose a bit of momentum there, a bit of speed. Look how fast Adam Shipp is catching Soren. Now, that's not going to affect him because he's going to go with him for this qualifying lap. This is qualifying after all. But if he does that on his qualifying lap, he's got issues, Soren. But Adam Sherpitt, this is worked out for Adam Sherpitt now because he's actually a lot closer to Soren now. And it's a lot rarer, I would say, to see a mistake from a driver like Adam Sherpitt. So this could go in his favour. Ooh, a little clip of the barrier there from Sherpitt. He has fallen back slightly, but Soren's first sector does look good. At the moment, it's not the best. So yes, it is the best, but it could be a bit better as we come around to this final part of the track. And it's not bad from Adam Sherpitt at the moment. Look how he's keeping on at the back of Soren. A little bit of oversteer there, so he's going to fall back slightly. But here we go then. Soren, can he keep pole position, or has Ricardo or Dakpan got enough? Soren across the line, goes top. Adam Sherpitt, predictably half a second down. Ricardo next across the line. Dakpan goes to third. Adam Sherpitt out-qualified Dakpan. And Ricardo coming across the line, and only Ricardo can only manage 4th. Shivan, welcome to the series, by the way. Down there in 7th. That's the end of qualifying already. I'm not used to these qualifyings being so short. But yes, we had a Soren pole position, so he'll be looking for the sprint winner. But Adam Sherpitt, 2nd place, I have to say. That was a really good lap time from him, actually. For somebody who is basically turned up and got in the car, as you would say, in real life with very little practice, to be on that front row, I would say is a very good performance. But can he do it now over the 5-minute sprint race? Will Soren be able to run away with it, or will drivers be coming at him? Adam Sherpitt does tuck in behind Soren as the race starts here. As we go into the first corner, Soren does get the cleaner of the starts. And will the drivers now work together? It does look very clean, though. They're 2 by 2 as we go through the first sector. Soren, though, here with a clean lead. He's going to go now and try and find that lap time. to top the time sheet, I should say, is Adam Shipper. Now goes with Soren. He's got a clean start there. It's looking very good from all the drivers. It's a very single file order. Don't forget, today is very much about your lap time, and not just your lap time, how you perform your joke laps as well, your strategy, which Neg in the first sprint seems to have all the practice of now as well. Soren there with a clear lead, and Adam Ship actually makes a mistake there. Now he has to hold off from Dakpan, the Dutch driver. Will he go with him, or will he decide to go for overtake? Adam Ship, it defends, and that's what you might have to be doing for the next 4 minutes, because it's going to be very hard performance here from Adam Sherpitt to make that A final with very little practice. But does he know the defensive lines? That's the question here. Dakpan does seem to drop off a little bit here, as Ricardo does make it up into 4th. But it's a very clean start here. There's nothing really to talk about in terms of the action. But we got Adam Sherpitt, who is starting to back Dakpan into Ricardo. Now, these drivers could all be in the A final, but obviously positions matter. So, you know, will the drivers in 4th and 5th start to get a little bit tired here of Adam Sherpitt's defending? Will we see some more, well, brave moves, as you would say, as Soren now, by the way, a 42.9, so he's already confirmed for pole position for the A final if he was to win this sprint race. And, you know, he's got a clean little lead here, but we saw what he did on that outlap. If he hits the wall again, it's all over. If I was, a little bit of contact there, but it's looked good from Morten Honstock as he stays on, and we're seeing all sorts of fighting here. Barry T holds on to it, and no, and Shivan doesn't quite make it work there as he's just dropped off. But it was a good attempt on Barry T, I would say, and the door was open. But that sort of came about because of Morten Honstock's really good overtake, to be honest with you, on Barry T. But he needs to get the road now and catch up to Ricardo, as Adam Sherpitt actually has pulled a bit of a nice gap there to Ricardo, well, Dakpan and Adam Sherpitt. So you'd wonder if they go, little clip of Barry there as well from him. But if I was Soren right now, I was going to say earlier, if I was Soren, I've got the fastest lap, I'm guaranteed pole position. I wouldn't be risking it hitting those barriers right now. I've got a clear lead. You can relax at this point, and I'm sure he will be hearing this live stream and that guidance too. Adam Sherpitt, however, I must say, I'm so impressed with this performance of Adam Sherpitt, but I expected nothing less from such a great driver. Dakpan, the Dutch driver, needs good points for the championship. So, you know, will he risk a move on Adam Sherpitt? I'm not sure. I think today is going to be all about that A final, and when you choose to do your Joker laps, it's going to be very important, I would say. And you know, the B final is going to be all about just trying to make it to that A final. It'll be a bigger A final because, you know, we get a couple of drivers who do essentially get promoted from the B final. So it'll be a bumper A final. And you can't really choose when to do your Jokers all at the same time, because otherwise you're going to be stuck with the drivers around you for the rest of the race, a bit like this. You know, Dakpan 11 is stuck essentially behind Adam Sherpitt. On the lap times, he is faster. But do you go for that move? Well, I suppose right now it's quite a sensitive time to go for it. Ricardo, by the way, you know, he did some great times in practice, but he's not matching what Sherpitt and Dakpan have got in their pocket at the moment. So it's looking good for them. Ornan is slowly catching up to Ricardo, but not at a great pace. Barry T and Shivan seem to be in their own little sort of bubble as well, driving around. But there's only a minute to go here, and it's been a fairly clean race, I would say. We saw that one fantastic move from Orden, Henstock, but we haven't seen much else since. You know, the drivers are all so practiced. I did calculate earlier, 4,500 laps of practice were done over the last 2 weeks in preparation for this event, 500 of which coming from a certain Jaco from the first split. So it's fantastic to see drivers practicing so much for this last indoor race on the calendar. As we go back, as next week we travel to SPN, which I'm not sure geographically where that track is, but that's the name of it, SPN, which will be round 6 of the championship, a big outdoor track, so looking forward to that. And of course you can get involved by checking through the Discord. There's only 10 seconds to go here. Soren with a clear lead, a 42.8, so it looks like he has dropped off a little bit. He's not particularly driving over the limit here. He's just cruising to the end. But here comes Soren. He's going to win the second sprint race and get an extra 3 championship points for his push up the order, as Adam Sherpitt, a very impressive second place there with little practice. Dakpan in 3rd. We're going to see Ricardo in 4th. Hopefully that's enough to make the A final. But for Ornan Henstock, Barry T and Shivan, it's going to be a fight through that B final. And don't forget, 2 of them will make it to the A final. So looking forward to seeing what happens there. But yes, in an interesting second sprint. To be honest with you, not the most interesting in some ways, but we saw one great move there from Mornon, so shout out to him for that. But yes, we'll be back in just around 5 or so minutes with the B final to see who can make it to that A final. Welcome back, and welcome back to the B final. It's a 20-minute B final, which the top two lead into the A final. And I'm joined, I'm glad to say, by Soren, the winner of the second sprint. Welcome, Soren.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. And Soren, it's been a while since we chatted. Any real races going on?
Yeah, I was in race hall, like you mentioned, and it went like shit. So yeah, but I'm glad I can perform well in ACK now. So yeah.
Well, if it's not working in real life, I'm sure ACK is a place where you want to be. I've heard a lot of haters around you recently, Soren. A driver who, well, somebody who's saying it's not going well in real life, but you've won 3 out of the 4 events of this ACK season, and you didn't even turn up to the one you didn't win. So, what have you got to say to the people out there who are putting you down for winning so many races so far?
I mean, they should just focus on themselves, or maybe they should ask me for help if they feel like hating on me. Then they could get better.
I mean,
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. You've posted hot laps. It's not like you're
yeah, I'm just
keeping
trying to help
secrets.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, those drivers, they just need to get better, I think, is in my opinion. But let's talk about the
Yeah.
B final. So,
Yes.
for the B final, it's going to be a very interesting one. We thought drivers such as Mate Sheplo were going to be safe, but no, Mate Sheplo starts second for this B final with Ricardo. Ricardo, a bit of a disappointing performance, I would say. He struggled on his lap to the grid, and it's now affected him because he's now in the B final. And we got Ornan and Henstock, who pulled off a fantastic move in the last race on Barry T. And can he do that again? I'm expecting a lot of drivers to win this through the Joker, is the way to put it. But we'll have to see. Anything from you, Soren?
Yeah, I believe the Joker is really the key to winning today's B final. It has a lot to do if you do it early or do it late, and I expect a lot of fighting as well. So it will be a good idea to take the Joker if a lot of fighting happens, because you don't want to lose time to the top drivers.
Absolutely. Well, I'm hoping. One thing I hope that doesn't happen is all the drivers do their jokers within the first 5 minutes, because if we're just watching them go single file for the last 15 minutes, it's going to be a very long B final, especially if the leader starts defending. I don't think we'll see that. I think we'll see a bit of interesting strategy here today, but 10 seconds to go till the start of the B final. So it's going to be very interesting, and there are a lot of drivers here who could make that A final. So best of luck to them. It's 6 red lights in ACK, and we're almost ready to go. Who will get the cleaner of the starts? No penalty for jump starts, which is good. Mate gets the better start though from the outside and takes the lead. As we see the drivers now go side by side through the intersection. And it looks very clean from the start. Ricardo does get a bit squirrely there. He's trying to get past Sheplo immediately. Sheplo goes for half defensive. As we see Neck now make up the position to Shiv as they come round into the infield section. Shiv, I think, keeps the position. No, Neck does get ahead behind. Mate Sheplo into the lead. Now, will any drivers go for the early Joker? Ricardo might be a driver thinking about this because he's all over the back of Sheplo, almost to say, listen, I'm the faster driver of us two. Let's go together. But will any drivers go for the Joker on this first lap? Let's have a look. And yes, one does there. That looks to me like David Alexandre. Yes, David Alexandre goes in, comes to a stop, and now he gets going. Neck as well comes to a stop and gets going.
Was that a clean stop from Davey? I don't think he stopped within the lines.
Yes, you're right. David Alexandre definitely did not stop within the lines there. He will take a very small penalty for that. It's only small, so it won't affect him in the long run. But it was in the briefing. You have to stop in between those lines.
Yeah, I believe. I don't know how big the penalty is, but this is definitely not something that he wants to happen to him in this B final, where he can potentially get his A final spot here.
Absolutely. Well, I think I've been told it's a 5-second penalty, but it'll have to be looked at after the race, of course. But we have seen it, and it will be investigated for sure. As we see another stop there from that looks to me like Shivan Zangana. It's a little bit. In fact, he's reversing back in. So, can you give a penalty to someone for reversing? I'm not sure.
I think that's a good stop, I guess.
Yeah, it's legal if you're reversing it, and don't forget, when you reverse, you got to wait 3 seconds to push that car back. So essentially, yeah, I would say that's a clean stop. Barry T, all over the back of Ornan and Henstock here, 2 drivers who are going longer into this race here. with the leaders. Martin Shepard, by the way, got a bit of a clean lead, I would say, over Ricardo. Ricardo was quicker in the first section, but now is dropping off.
Yeah, looks like Mate has got the gap he's been looking for. Let's see what Ricardo can pull out of his pockets. Maybe he'll take one of his Joker laps now. Or if Mate pulls the card, I guess Ricardo should follow him.
I do believe here, this top four, I think once one goes, I think they're going to start reacting to each other. The back drivers now, all they've got to do is just get on with it. Lap time's looking okay from the back three at the moment, but it is the top four who are the faster. So the back three, they need to get on with it a little bit here if they're going to get it through.
Yeah, looking at the lap times, we see it's a 53.6 from Mate, and Ricardo is doing 44.3. So Ricardo needs to pull out and find some pace if he wants to catch Mate again.
Soren, if you were in a situation such as Barry T here, the fourth place driver, in fact, we see a mistake there, just really quick, from Ornan in front, and Barry T, now this might be the time to attack, and is he going to do it? It looks like Ornan has survived it slightly, because Barry T did load him forward, and a friendly bit of loading, just basically get on with it, I think is what he's trying to say. Yeah, back to you, Soren. In this situation, you're Barry T, you're fourth, what do you do?
As we see Ornan making mistakes, if he feels like Ornan is holding him up, I think he should go into the pits and try and go for the long run and, try and cut him back once Ornan also takes his first Joker.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a driver who can suggest. I haven't practiced as much as these drivers, at least in this particular race. I have raced a few times myself, but not at Wackersdorf. We've run it 3 years in a row, this track, and I actually missed it every single time, rather disappointingly. But these two drivers, Orn and Henstock and Bertie, are falling off now, the leaders. And they don't want to fall into a position where they're just driving around for third, because they want to make it to that A final, I'm sure, just as much as Ricardo and Martin Shepard, but it's working quite huge at the moment in Ricardo and Martin Shepard's favour. I think this is where Barry T needs to make the decision. Ornan, he is a fast driver, but he slightly slowed me down. It's the little mistakes, and when you have to back off the throttle, it definitely affects you.
Yeah, we don't really see the consistency from Ornan, so Barry is definitely being held back a bit. So if he's hearing the live stream, I think he should consider doing the stop soon, and he'll definitely be avoiding Ornan for some laps, and then he can concentrate on his own and try and gain back the time he's lost to the two leaders.
A driver I want to call out, by the way, is David Alexandre. He's actually the second fastest driver on track at the moment, 2 laps in a row, and I have been watching it, and he's sitting back in 5th position. So you'd have to question, actually, has he jumped Ornan and Barry T? He could be actually in a virtual 3rd position here. Here's David on screen, but don't forget he did overshoot that line, so he will also be playing with a potential penalty in this race. Of course, it will get investigated, but it did look pretty clear to me. Hopefully he hasn't heard that, Davy, and he just gets on with it, because there's definitely still life in this race for him.
Yeah, he can't just stop driving now. He needs to just get his head down and focus. So he doesn't lose out on this penalty, and maybe take his second stop if he hasn't done it already, so he can try and catch P4 and P3, who looks like they're about to go into a battle.
Martin Shepard, by the way, fastest lap time of a 43.351. There is Ornan. Ornan comes in now, the leader, and will he overshoot it? He does overshoot it. Oh, that's going to be frustrating. He needs to go now. He needs to get on with it. Oh, he's going to go for the reversing technique. Or is he stopped? Oh, no, he's going for the reversing technique. Well, you have to respect that. It's a bit slow. Oh, Ornan, what have you done, mate? Here. Oh, you have to practice those jokers. It's still going. And now go. Get on with it. Let's go. Here we go.
I do believe it's stated in the briefing that if you overshoot it, you just do another lap and then come in again. I think that is quite quicker than waiting for the car to reverse.
Well, I think just taking the 5-second penalty was a bit smarter there, if you ask me. But very, very noble from Ornan there, I would say.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, we're back.
Yeah, you need to brake very early. I also found out in the practice session. If you wanted to be in between the lines, I can't count on my 2 hands how many times I overshot the the stop lines. So I don't blame these drivers for overshooting it.
And I'm sure the Soren haters will be watching your joke laps very closely today. So you need to make sure you do not overshoot it, or you'll be reversing yourself, I'm sure, or taking the penalties. But here's Ricardo in second place, not quite matching Martin Sheplo, half a second once again on this lap. And on this lap, yes, another half a second. So he's losing a lot of time to Sheplo. This is the time, though, where Barry T has to get on with it. He's clear of should I say, sorry, Ornan by a mile now. All drivers, by the way, haven't done 2 jokers, so we're still going to wait for a lot of jokers. Shepard's probably the driver who can relax the most here. He can almost come to a gradual start. He could probably reverse in twice at the moment with the lead he's got. But 12 minutes to go on the clock. What are you thinking, Soren?
Yeah, the lead that Mate has is sitting him very comfortably. So he should think about when he should do his pit stops. Maybe look at the times. Is he losing or is he gaining? Because if he's starting to losing a lot of time and Ricardo has suddenly found some magical pace, he should definitely look into those pit stops.
Absolutely. Ricardo, he's not matching it. It's 5.7 seconds he's down now on Shepard. But, does this matter? Actually, he should be looking behind him and not forward here. As Barry T he's matching Ricardo, but he was faster a lap ago. But on this lap, he's matched it. So Barry T's going to have to work a little bit harder if he's going to make this A final. As we're almost halfway through the B final now, we just saw a joker there from Ornan again, and that one was clean. I believe. There was no reversing that time, at least from Ornan, which is good to see. But this is where Sheplo could think about taking his first joker, because he's catching the back of Ornan now. And Ornan isn't a slow driver, so he's not going to catch him very quickly. But, it's probably caused you to just take a safe joker, come back out, and just keep driving. But the only risk there is you might come out alongside Barry T. So there's definitely a lot of risks here. Martin Sheplo, the leader on this tight indoor track, is definitely a risk now. From a couple of different angles here, but it's looking good for him so far.
Yeah, looks like Ricardo is still losing.
Oh, he's listening to the stream. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So
Shepard didn't stop. Shepard didn't stop.
At least on our cameras, it looked like he didn't stop. But these sort of games, they have their what you call sort of lag, server lag, in a way, and that could have been a case of that. It does need to be looked into, and I'm sure it will before the next race. As we see, oh no, there's a problem with the stream here. The server is still going. Welcome back. Sorry for that small intermission. You didn't miss much, but Sheplo did take his second joker lap, and so did not Ricardo. So did Neg in that time. But this is Marte's lead now, and in fact, Ricardo did take his second stop, should I say? So these two drivers basically matched each other and heading now towards a potential A final. And Barry T is the only driver who can bring a stop to that.
Yeah, and look at Ricardo. The gap went from almost 6 seconds to now 2 seconds, and both drivers has done all the joker laps, I do believe. So now Ricardo just has to look forward and try and chase down Mate here in first.
Yeah, good stop there from Shiv, by the way, I must say, who came into the pits just a moment ago on his ACK debut. It's quite a hard debut at a track such as Wackersdorf Indoor. So hopefully he returns for the bigger outdoor tracks where I'm sure we'll have some bigger numbers once again, and he can get stuck in and involved with all them as Barry T takes his last stop now, coming out in fourth. Is that Ornan? Has Ornan jumped Barry T? I'm just trying to work out here. I don't think Ornan's actually taken his second stop, or has he? Yes, something's happened somewhere to. I'm just trying to work out. I think it's Ornan is a little bit further behind, but he's actually gone ahead of Barry T again. And that's the driver we've watched reverse for quite a long time in that pit lane. So interesting to see.
Yeah, I was wrong with the Ricardo. He hadn't done his second stop. I see the gap is now back down to 9.2 seconds now, it looks like. So Mate is safe once again, it looks like.
And I'll tell you who it is. It's David Alexandre. Now, David Alexandre is a driver who actually could snatch this away from Ricardo. But it's going to be 7 minutes of possible pain here for Ricardo, fighting away David Alexandre. So we're going to have to watch this fight very closely. Just under 7 minutes to go, in fact, in this race now. Sheplo, 9.5 seconds ahead. Honestly, he can relax at this point. He's done very well. Needs to be investigated for that pit lane infringement, but even with that penalty, he could still stay ahead at the moment of Ricardo. So I know he's listening to the stream. We'll definitely have to check if he did stop. I think it was a latency issue on our side, on the show side, I should say.
Yeah, and we can see that Davi is actually gaining Ricardo by half a second right now, definitely in the last lap. And in looking at this lap, he gained once again, actually lost 3/10 this lap. So it looks like it's a battle of consistency now. Interesting to see if Davi can pull something out.
And that's what indoor karting is. It's about consistency in indoor karting. It's not about how far you can take a track limit or how much you can get away with hitting a curb. It's about how close you can get to those walls and do it lap after lap after lap. And certain drivers can do it and certain drivers hate it. Indoor karting is a very you have to be consistent. That's the name of the game. So David Alexandre actually did clip a wall on that lap, but look at the lap times they go across the line, and it's advantage Ricardo on that lap as he does actually pull 3/10 again for the second lap in a row. So 6/10 over the last two laps, and Barry T now starts to close in on Davi.
Yeah, looks like Davi is losing 3/10 once again this lap. So it looks like Ricardo may be safe once again. And I guess also if he's also secured the A final, I guess he can just go easy with it, as well as Mate can. As we the stream is back.
Had an issue there.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I guess Ricardo can also relax. If his goal was just to be into the A final, that one position doesn't really matter when we go into a 25-minute race.
Well, we're expecting Sheplo and Ricardo, if they were the two drivers to make the A final, you'd expect them to probably go quite early in the Jokers. They're probably going to be the first in, to be honest with you, because we haven't seen much overtaking on that first lap, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way to do it. But this is where the tactical game is going to start, I think, at the front of the A final, because the first driver to pull that pin will definitely cause a bit of interest, I think, amongst all the drivers about who's faster than who. There's not many drivers who will be getting the information unless they listen to the live stream about who is faster than who. That's why I always encourage to listen to the live stream, so I can point out, for instance, right now, that David Alexandre actually lost another 4/10 on that lap to Ricardo. So Ricardo now has pulled 1.1 seconds of the last 3 laps. So he's looking good at the moment, I would say, but a great effort from David nonetheless.
Yeah, as we look into the A final in 4 minutes, for Mate and Ricardo, it is just a matter of trying to survive the backpack, because we know like it's gonna be very rough and hopefully not too many rough battles, but it's definitely something to consider going into the stop very early.
Absolutely. Ricardo actually is closing in slightly on Sheplo, but it's only 2/10, and when you got a 10-second advantage, it looks like Sheplo has just pulled off the accelerator a little bit just to safely get home. We have seen Sheplo lead B finals in the past and end up in the wall. I think about Daytona Sundown round 1 of season 2. That was a very unfortunate thing for him there, but he looks like at the moment he's going to put those sort of things right today.
Yeah, it is a very good idea. It's for Mate to not go 100% because if he loses this, it's not only gonna cost him points, but it's also gonna cost him this A final where he can score even more points for this. I believe he's in Silver Championship, right?
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
yeah. And it's very important for him to get these points when he's fighting for the Silver Championship. And I don't believe there's too many Silver Championship drivers this season. So many Silver drivers from last season has actually moved up to Gold. So actually, it'll be very interesting to see who will go with the Silver title this year.
Actually, just check my records. He's a gold driver, finishing second in the Silver Championship last season to Harry Power. Harry Power's not with us today. Hopefully, he returns again soon. Shivan and Ornan, though, are on their first ever ACK rounds, and hopefully they can return as well for more action in the future. But, Shepler's coming up on lapping these two drivers now, and they're in a fight. Now, this is where it could go wrong for Shepler. We saw Summon Gabert a bit of an attempt there from Ornan. We saw Summon Gabert a couple of weeks ago unfortunately get in the way of a fight, and that cost certain drivers the A final. So if I was Sheplo with this sort of lead, I would just let this fight happen. There's only a minute to go. Doesn't have to lap them. Doesn't have to cause blue flags. And the blue flag is definitely a controversial topic in a game like Assetto Corsa. So if I was Sheplo, I would just be, probably taking a second off the table as Ricardo is moving in. No, it was slower in fact that last lap anyway, so he could take his foot off the gas and nothing would be affected. But only a minute and a half to go here in this race, and this is the only fight I think on track at the moment. Is Ornan is going to go for a move there? It doesn't work out as Shiv does hold it, and Shiv does hold it once again through the second hairpin. Ornan getting a little bit fighty here on these last minutes. He knows all the jokers are done. And will Ornan give in to it? And will Ornan be able to get past Shiv both on their debuts?
Yeah, it's very much just for Mate right now. He should just try and relax and not lose too much time, even though if he does catch them, it's only 2 laps remaining, and in 2 laps, he's not gonna lose 10.5 seconds. I don't think it's possible. So, yeah, just we
Oh,
see a
bit of contact
big
there.
crash, and
Yes,
now definitely Mate will catch them.
yes. No, Mate. No, Mate. This is the last lap of the race, and Mate doesn't have to go too hard on this one. But he seems like he's trying to get the overtake done and end the race a little bit earlier. But this is the last lap. Mate can relax. I just want to wish Soren you all the best in your A final, and hopefully you get a good result from that. It's going to be hopefully quite a strategic one is the word I'm looking for. So yeah, all the best with that. But we're coming round for the final corner now. Mate Sheplo will not get Ornan lapped as Ornan couldn't quite make the move on Shiv work, but they're going to go for one more lap here. In fact, no, it's going to be another lap because with 4 seconds to go, Sheplo crossed the line. He could have slowed down there and ended the race a whole lap early, but he's choosing to go with these two drivers. Now, these two drivers actually have 2 laps to go because once Sheplo crosses the line, he ends the race, but Ornan, unless he lets Sheplo through that is, and that's Barry T. Barry T's stopped on track, and no, Barry T's fallen to an issue there. He's not moving, and he's dropped to last. Oh, Barry T, what's happened there, mate? Oh, really unfortunate stuff. Sheplo, though, still watching this fight in the midfield, and they're going to go for one more lap by looks. Yeah, Sheplo has slowed down a little bit now. He has understood it's the last lap, and he knows he's making to that A final. He doesn't have to do a lot now, but here's Mate Sheplo. He's going to win the B final. Fantastic result from him there, from start to end, coming from second there. He had the better launch. Ricardo is going to be the driver who makes it through to the A final, so another 25 minutes for him. David Alexandre, though, a great effort from the Brazilian driver, but it didn't quite work today for him. Unlucky Davy, but a great result. We're just looking for the 3 British drivers. I think they're all British, these 3 drivers. So it's great to see some more British representation in the series. But they're going to come round and finish in the order they almost have been in for the last 5 minutes, as Ornan can do a last corner move. Will he be able to make it work as Shiv doesn't really go too defensive? Ornan does clip the barrier there. Shiv does come round to finish, yes, in 5th position. And I was going to say Ornan was at the back, but Barry T looks like he's fallen to an issue. But a great race nonetheless. So yeah, no, all the best. Any final thoughts from you, Soren?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for Mate, see how far he can get in the A final with this pace he has shown. He has actually done some pretty good lap times, and I'm also looking forward to the fight with GT as he's looking just as fast, if not a bit faster than me in the practice. So I'm looking very much forward to the A final.
Well, you've heard it from the man himself. All the best, Soren. Wishing the best. We'll be back in 5 minutes for the A final. Welcome back, everybody, to the A final here. 25-minute A final with some fantastic drivers. This is going to be a very tactical race, I'm sure, here, as we got Soren, currently the championship leader after drop rounds on pole, but with GT, the Polish driver, in second place. Now, this is going to be a very interesting run, I think, through the first section of the track. It's going to be one of those races where you have to be on top of your joker laps, you know, not overshooting, not making any mistakes. That's going to be the important thing today. We've got Andres Lazaridis, the 11-year-old as well, who's made it, I believe, his first A final. I'll have to look it up of this season. We'll definitely have to look it up. And we got Ricardo and Mate Sheplo, once Mate Sheplo turns up, that is, also taking part in this A final after just winning the B final. But it's, with a minute 30 to go, it's going to be tough to call who's going to win this. Adam Sherbet, very impressive performance. You know, he's third on the grid, but that is not the whole story. He, to be honest with you, just turned up to this event. He turned up, walked through the door, got on the go-kart, is the way to put it. No practice from Adam Sherbet. He has done this race before, but it's definitely going to be something that he was rusty for. But Sherbet, I'm not sure if he can take the win today. He's very struggling on pace, and he said he's had some PC issues as well. So hopefully he finishes the race, that is. With a minute to go, we're just waiting for Mate Sheplo, the only driver. He did join, but he has left again here. It's going to be A very close-knit, I think, first lap, but then it does split off quite nicely, and I do expect some of the drivers towards the back to possibly take the Joker. I think one or two will go quite early, but there's going to be all sorts of strategies, I would say, in this. But it's been a great round so far. Our last indoor track of the season. Before we move on to a second half of the season, which is mostly outdoor tracks. So it's going to be very good to see. 20 seconds to go now in this race, in this sort of pre-race lobby, and we're going to be racing. Who will get a better launch? We actually saw Sheplo get the better launch last time from the outside. So will that happen again this time? We're still waiting on Martin Sheplo. It's going to be very close here. It's going to be 6 red lights though in ACK. Sheplo might have to start a little bit further back here, as we're going to see him pop in, I'm sure. But the race starts. Will GT get the better start? No, it's going to be Soren who gets the better start as we go through the first set of corners. Soren, though, gets a clean lead. Adam Shippett now fighting for potentially second place, and he doesn't quite get it as we see Tim now clip the wall slightly. And we see all sorts of contact at the back, but they're mostly 2x2. Dakpan now getting in the middle of that action. Adam Shippett oversteering there slightly as they all go now single file a lot earlier than expected. Ricardo makes up a position on Andreas Lazaridis though, getting through at the back. Martin Sheplo though hasn't turned up, which is really frustrating for him. Oh, Sheplo looks like he's fallen into some issues after winning that B final. Soren though with not a clear lead, I would say. Shippett, oh, there's a crash in the back there. That's Ricardo. I think Lazaridis went for the move on Ricardo, and it didn't work out. As they drop back ever so slightly. Coming through, it's going to be Lazaridis actually comes to a perfect Joker there from Lazaridis. After the contact, it doesn't surprise me that he went for the Joker, as Soren now is in the lead, but GT is actually staying with him. It was his fastest lap from Soren, of course, because he was the leader. But GT is not letting him go without a fight here. And of course, there's a point for fastest lap to be taken as well, as they come through the back section of the track. Martin Sheplo does join in the end, and he's going to go from the pit lane here. Very frustrating from Sheplo, I will say. I don't know what happened to him. Now that is frustrating, absolutely. Here comes Dakpan 11, the Dutch driver in the pit lane. Now will he come to a stop? Is he going to be clean? It is a good stop. Yes, he comes to a complete stop and he drives away. And there's Ricardo, by the way, coming through. Martin Sheplo still in the pit lane, so he has definitely fallen into some issues here. Sheplo has gone. Tim does come out behind Ricardo here. So we've actually seen a lot of Jokers already from Dakpan, from Andreas Lazaridis, and GT. Is that GT? No, GT hasn't taken a stop. It does say on my system that he has, but he's not letting Soren go without a fight. So this is what we wanted to see. We want to see 2 drivers at the front, possibly going on different strategies at the moment, but they're not. They are going together. But there's going to be a point where GT is going to go for that Joker, and will it be stronger than Soren's? And there's going to be a lot of Soren haters. We did talk about Soren haters in the B final. They're going to be wishing GT all the best here, from Team Poland. It is Poland versus Denmark at the front. Clean stop there, it looked like, from Ricardo. Didn't see the first part of that. But GT still on the back of Soren here. Soren's got to work for it this time. This is what people want to see. We want to see fights for the lead. As GT gets even closer to Soren, a little bit of loading there, but is he going to get away with that? Soren now going to the inside. I can't see if that was a mistake, but Soren now is going to oversteer here. Now, this is where the strategy comes in. Adam Shippett, by the way, is not very far behind in this fight, nor is Ricardo. No stop, though, from the front 2 drivers. Did any driver stop? No, they didn't. So GT is going to go with Soren. It's 22 minutes to go in this race. So I would say it was a bit too early to consider a possible Joker lap. Still, the fastest lap goes to, stop here from Dakpan. That's his second stop now, so he's going to be going to the end of this race. So it'll be very interesting to see. There's a good chance there, I must say, by the way, for GT to go in. I just see Dakpan actually has come up behind Ricardo, so those 2 drivers are now stuck together like glue for 21.5 minutes. That's going to be a very long time to be fighting for, so it'll be interesting to see if they decide to work together. Max Thorne in the comments saying, does the winner get to go to the FARKC? No, because that is a exclusive competition, the FARKC. It's unfortunately not a prize of the ACK, but we are in contact with the Wiltshires for a potential free entry, so watch out for that, Max. As we see the top 2 now, it's just going together here. When will GT decide to pull the pins? We see another stop here for Lazaridis. Lazaridis, yes, it's very close, but actually it was a very good stop. GT now, though, Soren goes very deep into that corner compared to GT. He's not letting Soren go here in this fight, and in fact, he wants to take the lead. You can see it, but Soren, he said he didn't quite have the pace of GT in this one, at least for now. But he does have the fastest lap still, Soren. So that's the important thing, to take that extra point away if he doesn't win this race today. GT, though, having to think about now what he's going to do. Adam Sherpitt still, by the way, not very far behind. If these two drivers come together in any sort of way, Adam Sherpitt could take the win of this race today. Let me just say, Adam Sherpitt, got potential top 3, which is an unbelievable result if I was Adam Sherpitt today at the moment. And I know I'm putting him down. He's such a fantastic driver in real life, so I wouldn't expect anything different in the game. But, very little practice compared to these 4,500 laps we've seen over the last week from all the other drivers. As they now come through, no jokers there either. So 20 minutes to go in this race, and the front 3 are not. Oh, there's Adam Sherpitt. Adam Sherpitt overshoots. No, and he's going to go. So Adam Sherpitt might take a 5-second penalty there. It does look quite conclusive, to be honest with you, because it was overshooting it, and now he's come up behind Jaco. And that's going to be very frustrating for Adam. But, 5 seconds, you can easily make that up in the race, I would say. So it's nothing to worry about too much. So hopefully it works out for him, overshooting that line. But it looked pretty obvious to me, I would say. It doesn't need to be investigated, but it still will, just in case. You never know with these things and how they work. It's all a little bit different in the virtual world of racing. But GT, by the way, look how close he is on Soren. Will Soren decide to defend down this back straight? That's the question. He doesn't. So it seems to be a bit of an agreement between the two, just to relax here. Just don't do anything stupid. They will now know. I know Soren listens to these live streams. He was just on there, but he listens to the live stream. He will know that Sherpitt now has made that mistake in the pit. So that will probably relax him a little bit, because there's no threat from behind at the moment for a potential undercut. But Soren now, his job is to simply, for the next 18.5 minutes, drive as fast as he can. And for GT, I'm not sure what the job is. I'm not sure what he's going to decide to do at the moment, as he doesn't take the Joker once again. So we're going to follow him around once again. See Soren going quite wide there. In fact, Soren might be trying to go for fastest laps as GT follows him round. But I must say, this is a very impressive performance from GT. He has struggled to make the top 3 in some ways. He did have a second at round 2. But in other rounds, he's always sort of sitting in the top 5, never quite making it up to the top. But now, he is fighting for the win, which is fantastic to see. A lot of drivers have done their jokers once again within that first 5 minutes. So, just looking down the order, it's only Adam Sherpitt, Jaco, who need to do 1 more joker, and these 2 leaders who need to do 2 of their jokers at the moment. But it looks like Jaco's up to 3rd. And just looking through the lap times, Jaco he's not far off Soren. He's not very far, but he definitely has a bit of work to do if he's going to make that top area, I would say, of the final order. GT slightly falling off Soren here as well. As clips a barrier there slightly as well. Look at that pull off there from Soren, as he did clip a barrier. So this might be music to Soren's ears, but GT is slightly fallen off. Maybe this is a case of GT starting to lose focus. Like we said in the B final, indoor karting, it's not about how much you can take track limits and get away with it. It's not about how hard you can hit that curb. It's about producing. Oh, Soren comes in. Here we go. This is interesting. Soren in, and who's going very safe, comes to a stop, and he's off again. So GT has been released. Now, has GT made the right decision here to stay out, or has Soren made the right decision? This is going to be the interesting thing now. It looks like Soren has dropped about 5 seconds. That's the gap at the moment, 5.2 seconds. We're just waiting for the official gap as they hit the sectors. Soren is 5.408 behind GT. So we need to monitor this gap now. If Soren closes it, what does GT do? Does he stay out in a hope that consistency wins? We're not sure, but this is exactly what we want to see. Will GT react? I'm not sure at the moment. And GT decides to carry on, and this is what we want to see now. This is a race. This is a race we have. Soren, does he decide to come in again? No, he doesn't. So this is the race here. 5.324. So Soren has slightly closed on that outlap coming through. GT shouldn't worry too much if Soren, does close in slightly. It looked like a very safe joker lap from me. We did speak with Soren on the call about just going, quite safe. Don't risk it. and seeing where he comes out. But we've got 15 minutes, just over 15 minutes left in this race. He has actually caught by 3/10 now, Soren 2 GT. But again, just nothing to worry about. Let's see how the Jokers go. It looked like a safe Joker. GT coming around though, the final corners, and carries on once again. So GT's going to be going longer into this race. Jacob, by the way, a little bit closer than what I expected on the back of Soren, but unless these two start defending each other or come together, Jaco is still quite a way off. You can see him just at the back of the screen there. Coming through this long right-handed section, you have to be very consistent on the brakes through these corners. If you've put just a little bit too much brake on the corner, you can just completely spin out. And then sometimes you can understeer. There's so much going on right now on this screen in terms of driving the car with the sim rig. That's quite hidden, to be honest with you, I would say. And it looks very impressive on screen, but it's a lot harder, I would say, to achieve, especially some of the lap times they're doing right now. GT, by the way, 2/10 slower on that last lap, but let's watch it through this next lap now. So GT with a 42.915, and Soren will respond with 42.842. So only, but just under a tenth increase on the lap. But Soren actually has dropped a tenth as well somewhere during this first sector. So it's working. I'm not sure who's on top right now. That's the interesting thing. If Soren was to go again on the Joker, he would come out alongside Jaco. So Soren is almost committed to the strategy now. He can't go again to try and throw off GT a little bit, or just get his second Joker lap out the way, because that's an important thing as well. Just get out the way. Oh, GT does come in, so here we go. This is it. Will it be a clean stop? It's very close, but it looks good. He's going to get going. And Soren, yes, it's a lot quicker than what we expected. Very safe there from from Soren. So GT now. Now both of these drivers have done one Joker lap, it's a lot clearer the picture as to what the next Joker lap will look like. GT was faster out on track, but looks like Soren was better through the pit lane. I did say Soren's was really safe, so I'm interested to know how safe GT's was as well, actually, at the same time here, because Soren, from what I can see, had the better Joker lap, although Soren was quicker through the following two laps, so that probably didn't help him slightly. But yes, GT now only going to second place. Does he decide to go again? No, he does not. So he's going to follow Soren through. If anything, he's got 13 minutes to play with here. It will be worth catching up to Soren, going for that next Joker. No Jokers coming through behind, but I think all drivers are committed to this strategy now. Adam Sherpa, by the way, down in 4th place after being jumped by Jaco. And for Adam Sherpa, it's a case now of trying to get as far down the road as he can to avoid that penalty after overshooting the Joker lap. So, 12 minutes, 55 seconds on the clock. We're over halfway through this race, or we're about to be at least. And Soren is having to work for this win. This is what people want to see. If you're going to win races, at least make it hard, I think, is the message people want to see. Nobody likes it when somebody leads from the start to end and they can drop a second here, drop a second there. At the moment, Soren cannot make a mistake. Here comes Jacob, by the way, for his last Joker. It looks good. I'm expecting Adam Sherpa to come out just ahead, and yes, he does. But Adam Sherpa yet to go for his last Joker, so be interested to see what happens there with those two drivers. But yes, here, as we were saying, Soren, he cannot afford a single mistake now. Every bit of braking, every throttle has to be perfect. And to be honest with you, GT is closing in on Soren again. So it's another case of, when you're leading a race, you can't see the mistakes you're making, or at least you can't always feel about it. Soren does come in now. Soren maybe getting the message that he needs to do something interesting here. But he comes to a stop and he goes again. I must say that was a very good stop. A very good stop. And with 11 minutes and 47 seconds to go, GT now has a choice whether he pits and goes behind Soren and he does it on track, or does he carry on now? He's got 11 minutes to play with. He can choose when to take that Joker. If, it takes one mistake from Soren, one bad bit of throttle, one bad bit of understeer, and GT can cover him. So this will be very interesting to see now. What I will say, though, is that Soren, when you're leading a race, is definitely harder because you can only feel the mistakes you're making, but the driver behind can see the mistakes you're making every single time, and that's different. It's different when you can see the mistakes at the moment, going through a driver, and I think that's where GT was catching Soren. GT was able to see what was going wrong, and Soren was not. By the way, here's Adam Sherpitt and Jaco on track. Now, Adam Sherpitt does have to go again, I believe, for a Joker, and he's actually the last driver who needs to take a Joker in this race with 10 minutes to go. Let's go down your order. So we got GT leading us, of course, with Soren. We've got Adam Sherpitt here with Jaco fighting out for the top 3. Just behind that is Tim, the Dutch driver, and also his Dutch compatriot Dakpan 11. Two great Dutch drivers who definitely have done some great races here in ACK, and Adam Sherpitt getting overtaken every goes for his Joker. Will it be a good stop? He got a penalty on his first one, and it's better this time, much better from Adam Sherpitt, so he won't take a penalty there. But that's Tim, by the way, going through to quite a clean run there. I must say, by the way, Soren has caught GT by half a second over the last 2 laps, and he's just taken the fastest lap of a 42.643. So full points at the moment going home to Soren once again in this race. But GT, again, shouldn't be concerned by that. All it takes is one clip of a barrier and GT could be winning this race. So Soren now is the driver, to be honest with you, under pressure, because he's the one who can't make a mistake. Because if he doesn't make a mistake now, he will win this race. That's the difference between him and GT. So go back down the order. Dakpan now in 5th position. Adam Sherpitt has dropped to 6th. And finally, we got Ricardo and Andres Lazaridis, who, the 11-year-old driver, making the A final was a fantastic effort today from him. So I'm very happy, of course, for him and his dad, that he's get to enjoy the A final today. And hopefully, during the second half of the season, we get to see more races from Andreas making the A final. Hopefully we do see it, and it's only going to help him in real life as well when he's trying to make those A finals in real life. So lots of a big career ahead of the driver, I'm sure. So 8 minutes 57 seconds to go. Actually, Soren did drop off on that last lap. He lost 3/10 to GT, so GT either just switching it on, or Soren made a small mistake there. But like I said, it takes those sort of mistakes. If he takes another 3/10 on this lap, GT could be in position to win this race. Soren is not going to win this in the easy way, I would say. And there's no back markers to get in GT's way, at least at the moment. He's got a while yet. Andres Lazaridis is chasing down Ricardo, the B final 2nd place driver, but he's still not quite near him, 2.1 seconds in that respective fight. Soren here, though, 4.7 seconds off, has closed in slightly on GT on that lap. Let's have a look at the lap times. Yes, 2/10 Soren has caught now on GT on that last lap, so he has responded, but he has lost a 10th over the last 2 laps, if that makes sense to anybody. So we're not sure at the moment who's going to win this race, but it does look like at the moment Soren has that advantage. But anything can happen, I would say. Jaco is quite a distance off at the moment as well. He's not being caught by any drivers. So I'm trying to look at these lap times, as I just noticed Soren's now only 4.5 seconds behind GT. Maybe it's a case of GT coming to the pit lane, doing his stop, because he was faster than Soren behind him, which was interesting. Like I said again about when you're leading a race, you don't know what mistakes you're making. But it just seemed as soon as GT sat behind Soren, he knew everywhere to go faster. And at the moment, look, it's not working for GT, as he's now down to 4.3 seconds. The mistakes just keep coming from the Polish driver, and that's unfortunate, absolutely. But like I say, anything could happen in these last 6 minutes. These jokers, it has been the right thing to do. Actually, no, sorry, this has caught my eyes. GT is just coming in, so there's a lot of things going on right now. GT comes in for a clean stop. Yes, it's a good stop, but look at that gap from Soren. It's a big gap. Now GT, he's gonna have to overtake on track now. 6 minutes is a long time to be racing. Now Soren is aware that he's going to be in the lead, so here we go. It's the fight for the lead, and it's gonna have to be an overtake on track. GT, like I said, will now be able to see all of Soren's mistakes and respond to it, hopefully. And he's not far off. 1.8 seconds. We'll monitor that gap at the moment, as it doesn't seem to be any fighting going on behind. It's now turned into a bit of a time trial hot lap session, much like what a lot of indoor karting is more a case of you don't do your overtaking on the track, you do your overtaking in the pit lane, or the joker laps, I should say. As now Yes, see, he has caught in slightly, 1.4 seconds, yes, and Soren is in clear view. So this is where I said about making mistakes there. 1.1 seconds there for GT. So GT, it's amazing. GT, as soon as he gets behind Soren, is just a whole lot quicker. So 1.0 seconds now. So yes, Soren just making a lot of mistakes there, I would say, with 5 minutes to go. And I don't think this race is over yet, but you would say advantage is definitely to Soren. So yes, 5 minutes to go. And it looks like he's even closer now, GT. I'm not sure if that's because he's just going through the hairpins. Yes, 0.7 now, getting closer to Soren the whole time. Let's look at the lap times as they go across the line. And yeah, on that last lap, half a second quicker was GT. It's amazing how just sitting in the tow, he is a whole lot quicker. But that's just how this car goes, I suppose. You know, there is a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Pierre Ligier would call it slipstream in this game. So GT is going to benefit from that, and he definitely is the faster driver sitting behind Soren here as he gets closer now. So this is the case. Will he go for the overtake to win this race? Is that something he's willing to risk on the great Soren, who is looking for his 4th win in the last 5 events, and the championship is looking very good in his favour. Jaco, by the way, sitting in 3rd, will continue his fight up the order as Jaco, because he's attended every round, will continue to be the leader of the championship. But once drop rounds are applied, he does drop to 2nd. But it's been a great season from him so far. 4 minutes to go on the clock, and GT now is just sitting behind Soren. Oh, a bit of a mistake there from Soren, but it looks like it put GT off. Took a bit of a wider line. It didn't quite work out for either of them, to be honest with you. They're the same gaps there. As now we're coming through the final section of the track and through the final hairpins, I just spotted in the distance Andres Lazaridis, who is chasing down Ricardo. I'm not sure in 4 minutes they're going to catch that fight, but you definitely have to keep your eye on it just in case they're going to interrupt, is the word, Andreas's fight up the order. I don't think they will. GT very close on the back now of Soren. But we're seeing no defending yet, so Soren's still able to keep his respective racing lines. There's no drivers behind, so even, you know, GT could even go for a move here and essentially give it back quite safely, unless Soren's upside down and in the wall on fire. I would say that he's almost got a bit of clearance here to go for a move and give it back if it doesn't quite work out. At the moment, though, Soren definitely narrower on the certain lines. So GT will catch him here slightly. You can see it slightly catching it. No, he doesn't actually. On the back straight now, 0.5 a second between each other. I mean, that is not half a second in game, at least. As now they come around 3 minutes to go. We are currently 30 laps through this final. It's the most laps of any A final we've seen this season. But that's Wackersdorf for you. A very, very short track. Don't forget to join us next week at SPN karting. Again, I still haven't looked up where this track actually is in the world. Also, it might be fictional, but SPN, a fantastic track I've heard. Very well made track. So I'm expecting some very good racing there, and that's next week at the same time on Wednesday. So join us then. Soren will tune back in here. GT just sitting on the back of Soren, making him work for it now. Actually, here comes Soren. He's going to have to defend on this lap, and he does defend. So now we're starting to see the defending from Soren. 2 minutes to go. He does go very narrow through that corner as well. GT will now be getting the alarms raised. Jaco still a very long way away here. So it's going to be a case of GT thinking what he can do. He's got time to be defended and see what happens. He has very thin lines there from Soren. Ooh, can he get... He's going to have to look for those sort of switchbacks, I would say. I don't know if someone's going to open there, but it didn't happen. Soren, though, not defending that corner, but yes, he's much narrower for these last section of corners. So GT, this is where he is better. He does seem to be better at these sort of corners than Soren. He does go very deep there, and look, Soren is going to pull away off that. Very frustrating. 1 minute 45 to go. GT's going to have to find a way through here on these last laps of Wackersdorf. And I want to say thank you, of course, to Pierre Ligier for his hard work on this track to bring it back to life and make sure the car works well with the track. And Soren goes very deep there. And will GT get the switchback? No, he doesn't. Soren does cover him off. And Soren, will he defend this corner? Yes, he does. He's slowing him down now. Jaco slowly joining the fight, but he's still a very long way away there because he's 6 seconds off this fight, respectively. As now he's in the middle of the track, Soren. Soren just sitting in the middle of the track, and that's what you do in indoor karting. You defend by sitting in the middle. As now, yes, he comes around the final section of corners, and just Lazaridis, by the way, catching Ricardo. That's the only other fight going on track. As now, look how close they are going down the back straight. Soren, the number 69, coming through the first section of the track. It's 2 laps to go. They make a little bit of contact there, according to me. And Soren now defending for his life. He wants this win. He wants to take his 4th in the last 5 races. And he's going to overshoot this corner. Will the switchback be on for GT? It's very close, but Soren now has to defend even more. And he doesn't quite defend it. He does defend enough there, as it's looking pretty good for Soren's. GT cannot get side by side. This is a very tight track. Soren goes to the inside once again. GT, is there a switchback here? No, there's not. Doesn't quite make it work. 24 seconds on the clock. This will be the last lap of racing here at Wackersdorf Indoor, as now Soren goes defensive. Look at that. Look at how close he is. You can put a piece of paper between him and the inside barrier at the moment. As they come through the next section of hairpins, he's to the outside, looking to the inside, can't find it nowhere. Here comes Soren. GT doesn't quite make it with there. Is there a switchback on once again? No, there's not. It's a tight track, and again through this middle section of track, looking to the inside, and it's not working. Soren now, it's a little bit of contact there. Friendly loading going forward again. Soren to the inside, couldn't put a piece of paper between them. Look how close this. Soren overshoots the corner slightly. Is there a switchback on? No, there's not. And it looks like this is going to be it. So Soren, what can I say? He's going to take fastest lap, and he defends the line, but Soren wins the 5th round of season 3 of the ACK Championship. He had to work for that win, I would say. So fantastic effort there from GT. Jaco coming in 3rd to essentially stay ahead in the championship for now. Tim in 4th with Dakpan in 5th, the 2 Dutch drivers. Adam Sherpitt in 6th, and I think he'll keep that given he has a penalty for overshooting the Joker, but it won't affect him too much. As Ricardo and Lazaridis, a fantastic fight at the end from these two, at least on lap times, but it's not quite going to work out in Lazaridis' favour. Ricardo only making 2 places up in that A final after being promoted from the B final. A lot of karting time for him tonight, though. Great effort there from Andreas. But yes, a great race in general. So a really enjoyable race to watch, at least, and hopefully we get the same of that next week. Don't forget, at SPN, as the 2 Dutch drivers drive around together. We'll watch them as we do our outro here. So thank you so much again for watching. It's quite a new concept, this sort of thing, and it's being hosted, of course, on my personal YouTube channel. So if you're here for my sort of karting content, feel free to maybe take a look into it and get involved. The ACK team worked so hard, obviously, to make this work. So I'm always happy to support them, and give it to my audience to see if, we can attract new drivers. But thank you so much, everyone, so much for watching. And we'll see you next week down at SPN. So thank you ever so much, and we'll see you soon.